Sean O'Malley will outsmart Song Yadong.
Sugar! Sean O'Malley!
I definitely want to be the biggest star in the UFC.
Oh, he gets another highlight for the real Sean O'Malley!
Wow. There is no one like Sean O'Malley.
He's got style, he's got charisma, determination, knockout power. He's the complete package.
He's not the athlete I am, doesn't have the speed I have.
It only takes one mistake against me.
Sean vs Song are set for the main card of UFC 324, and although a lot of fans aren't as high on Sean O'Malley anymore, I'm here to tell you that Sean will not only beat Song, but he'll dominate him as well. But quickly, before we get the video started, my name is JuicyMMA. I make opinionated fight breakdowns. If you're ready, hit the subscribe button, and let's get right into it. When you talk about Sean O'Malley, there's two separate camps. There's a camp that thinks Sean O'Malley is a great fighter, and the other camp thinks Sean O'Malley is an absolute fraud. There's not really much in between. And when you look throughout Sean's career thus far, I think it's pretty obvious to see why. As on one hand, Sean O'Malley has had some pretty impressive victories, like his victory over Petr Yan, like his victory over Aljamain Sterling, and also like his victory over Chito Vera. But on the other hand, Sean O'Malley has clearly been given some opportunities that most other fighters in his specific situation would not have been given. The fact that he was a number 10 contender and get a shot against the number 1 contender at the time in Petr Yan was definitely an opportunity most other fighters would not have been granted. And also, when you look back at that specific fight against Petr Yan, a lot of fans thought Petr Yan should have won that fight, even though the judges gave the decision to Sean O'Malley. So clearly, those factors are going to lead a lot of MMA fans to dislike Sean O'Malley. But for me personally, I'm actually in the minority. I don't think Sean O'Malley is a fraud, but at the same time, I don't think Sean is the elite of the elite type fighter. I definitely think there are guys at the bantamweight division that could beat Sean. Of course, we've seen that multiple times with his fights against Murad Dvalishvili, and even I think there's other fighters at the weight class that probably would beat Sean. But at the same time, I don't think he's his fraud. He's a former champion. He's been able to compete at a very high level against really high level fighters, and of course, he was even able to beat some really high level competition as well. So I think it's pretty clear that Sean is great, but at the same time, I don't think he's the best fighter at the bantamweight division. But a question that some of you may be wondering at this point is, what specifically does Sean O'Malley do out there that's made him pretty successful in the UFC thus far? Well, in my opinion, it comes down to a couple different factors, but the main factor by far is his striking. As when you watch Sean strike out there, it's pretty clear this guy's a tactician, and he does a lot of different things well. Whether you talk about his jab, backhand, hooks, uppercuts, crosses, leg kicks, body kicks, head kicks, stance switches, there's so many different things that Sean O'Malley can do out there that makes him so effective. And essentially on the feet, Sean throws so many different things out there at his opponents that it makes it really difficult for his opponents to decipher what's coming their way. And even outside of the diversity of his strikes, another thing that makes Sean so effective is his footwork. As when you watch Sean O'Malley fight out there, it's pretty clear this guy can fight against a lot of different opponents. If he needs to pressure his opponents and put punches together in combination to find the finish, he can do that. If he's going up against a very dangerous opponent and he needs to utilize footwork and stay away, he can do that. He fights really well off the back foot as well. And essentially, Sean has a style that makes him effective against a lot of different fighters. And for the most part, he doesn't really get hit cleanly all that much. I know he took a big overhand right from Petr Yan and he got somewhat hurt in that moment, but at the end of the day, Petr Yan is one of the best strikers at the weight class and honestly, one of the best strikers in the entire UFC, so it's not really saying all that much. But when you look at a lot of Sean's other performances, he really hasn't been hit all that much, or at least all that cleanly. And of course, all this isn't even to mention his power, as Sean definitely has some pretty good power out there as well. So I definitely do think that his striking acumen is a big reason for why Sean has been able to be as successful as he's been thus far. But the next factor for why I think Sean O'Malley has been so successful out there is due to his fight IQ. Because when you watch a lot of Sean's fights out there, he doesn't really make mistakes. As when Sean goes up against dangerous fighters, like for example a Chito Vera, he does a really good job at staying away from those pocket sort of sequences. And he did a really good job at fighting off the back foot foot for the most part and finding the victory. When he went up against a guy like Aljamain Sterling, once again, he did a really good job at utilizing footwork, essentially trying to stay away from the grappler, and when the opportunity presented itself, he landed that clean right hand. And essentially, although this may sound trivial, I think it's a huge factor. There's a lot of fighters out there, Michael Chandler is the poster boy for this, but there's a lot of fighters out there that just don't have great fight IQ. And even if they have a lot of talent, or even if they have a lot of skill, it doesn't really matter if you're constantly making bad decisions out there. So I think specifically when talking about Sean O'Malley, you can't really say that, and you have to say he has pretty good fight IQ due to the fact that I really haven't seen him make all that many mistakes, if any at all. But another question that some of you may be wondering at this point is why specifically do I think Sean O'Malley is going to outsmart Song Yadong? Well, in my opinion, this comes down to a couple different factors, but the first and main factor comes down to the footwork. Because when Sean goes out there and fights against really dangerous strikers, he does a great job at utilizing footwork and fighting off the back foot. Essentially, when he fought Chito Vera, although it's not the exact same fight, it's somewhat similar. As Chito Vera clearly was a powerful striker, and Chito Vera clearly did his best work in close, but Sean did a great job at utilizing footwork, staying away, and fighting off the back foot, essentially for 5 rounds. And I do think in this 3-round fight against Song Yadong, he'll be able to do more of the same, as he'll be able to utilize a lot of footwork, a lot of stance switches, a lot of calf kicks, a lot of long strikes like jabs, right hands, jabs, left hands, and essentially stay away from the power and essentially stay away from the pocket against Song Yadong. But even outside of Sean's ability to fight off the back foot, when you look at Song's ability to fight against movers, he doesn't really have a great track record. As if you look back at his fight against Corey Sandhagen, I think it was a very similar fight. And in that fight, Corey did a lot of things that I believe Sean is going to do. As early on, he did a really good job at utilizing a lot of stance switches, a lot of movement, essentially staying away from the pocket against Song Yadong until eventually he had him hurt, and then he was exchanging a little bit more. But early on, he was looking to utilize a lot of footwork, staying away, and essentially force Song Yadong to chase him. And in that fight, Song did not have all that much success. Song was having a lot of trouble actually getting to Corey Sandhagen in a smaller octagon at that. So I do believe in a bigger octagon against a guy who moves even more than Corey Sandhagen moves, I think he's going to have a lot of trouble actually getting to Sean O'Malley. But the next factor for why I think Sean O'Malley is going to outsmart Song Yadong is due to Song's lack of diversity. As when you talk about Song Yadong's game, yes, he does have a really good ability to fight inside the pocket and land big bombs, but he doesn't really do many things great outside of that, as he doesn't have a great ability to fight at range, but even more importantly, he doesn't have a great ability to grapple. Yes, he has been able to find takedowns in some of his previous fights, but for the most part, he's not an elite grappler, and I think that's a big issue for him in this specific matchup against Sean. Because when you look back at some of Sean's fights where either he lost or either it was very competitive in, the opponents that he went up against did a really good job at showing him multiple different looks. As for example, in his fight against Merab Dvalishvili, yes, obviously everybody knew Merab was going to shoot in for takedowns, but Merab was actually landing some big shots on the feet before he found the takedown. And because of the threat of the takedown, it kind of opened up Sean a little bit more on the feet for Merab to land those big bombs. If you look back at his fight against Petr Yan, although Petr is a great striker, a big reason for why Sean was a little bit more opened up on the feet is because of the threat of the takedown. As in that fight, Petr Yan did a great job at finding multiple takedowns in that fight, essentially just showing Sean a different level and a different thing to worry about. But in this fight against Song Yadong, for one, I don't think Song's going to do a great job at actually getting to Sean O'Malley, but even if he does get to Sean O'Malley, I don't think he's going to do a great job at effectively shooting in for takedowns and keeping Sean O'Malley guessing. So because of that, I do think Sean O'Malley is going to outsmart Song Yadong. But another question that some of you may be wondering at this point is, what is my official prediction for this matchup? Well, in my opinion, if I had to give my prediction, I would lean with a Sean O'Malley decision victory. I think Sean's going to be controlling the majority of this fight, fighting off the back foot, landing a lot of calf kicks, landing a lot of jabs, landing a lot of left or right straights, and essentially cruise his way to a relatively easy decision victory. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video and want to support the channel, be sure to hit that join button for members only live streams, videos, discounted merch, best bets, alongside with additional perks as well. I really wanted to thank all my current channel members. You guys do a great job at supporting the channel and keeping these videos coming, and once again, I just wanted to say thank you. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Sean O'Malley is going to outsmart Song Yadong, or do you not think so? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy it, check one of these two videos popping up now, and until the next time, peace out guys.